Jumping Flash released on the Sony PlayStation in 1995. Developed by Exact and Ultra, the game puts players in control of Rabot, a jumping robot equipped with various weapons. You play in a first-person perspective, and the controls, although they take a few minutes to get used to, quickly become fairly natural. The look can be controlled by holding the R1 or R2 button while pressing any direction on the controller, but you also look down while jumping automatically, which helps players know where they're going to land. You have a triple jump, but that sometimes doesn't work reliably. Strafing would have been a useful addition, but it was left out of the control scheme. All in all though, considering this game was developed in an era before the first DualShock controller existed, it handles surprisingly well. Objectives in each level are relatively simple in this kid-to-adult ESRB rated game. You can collect coins to increase high score, but overall you're simply trying to collect jet pods, and then progress to the exit of each level. Power-ups are available as one-time use special weapons, and occasionally you find a power pill, which makes you essentially indestructible for a limited time. Bonus levels exist in the game. In each one, the goal is simply to pop all of the balloons before time runs out. You have a time limit when trying to complete a regular level, and although you may want to explore a level, you won't find yourself running up against the time limit very often. While they can be surprisingly large for such an early PlayStation title, for the most part, you can still mentally break it up into quadrants and easily search for the items you need to complete the level. You do have a health bar, but health pickups are fairly frequent, and you'll be able to survive most levels without much difficulty. Truly, it seems that the easiest way to die in Jumping Flash is by falling off the level. In the event the player does lose a life, they're forced to start the entire level over again and collect all of the pieces, even the ones they found, once more. The third level in every world features a boss fight in a fairly small arena. Luckily, power-ups will carry over from level to level, so stocking up on items you want before entering a boss fight is always a good idea. Graphics in Jumping Flash are astonishing. This game is often looked at as a tech demo more than a full-blown game, mostly because it did such an impressive job of demonstrating three-dimensional world building. The environments come to life, there are lots of little extras and fun designs. Interesting mechanics such as rainbow roads which automatically propel you down a track, and ice worlds with slippery surfaces add variety to a game that players might think would otherwise get stale pretty quickly. Most impressively are the textures. Many early 3D games had minimal texturing and used basic color shading on most of their polygons, but Jumping Flash stands out for putting in so much effort. The draw distance feels, at times, like a flaw, but I realized it was being used as a mechanic in the game, not just as a way to keep the performance relatively smooth. The pods you need to pick up are marked on your HUD, and if they were visible all the way across the map, there would be even less of a challenge. Sure, the game itself is relatively simple, but we'll come back to that. The music and sound effects are likely the weak front this time around. The music never seems bad, but it's very quiet and pushed way into the background, making it very forgettable. The game doesn't use CD audio, which I found to be surprising considering how often that feature appears in PS1 games. In fact, whatever kind of compression or other loading mechanic was used for the music in the game, it can be a bit of a problem, because it often causes a pause in the game while the music loads. Sound effects are better than the music, and there are some fun sounds, such as the little voices that chime in to let you know how much time is left in a level. But overall, the sound effects were also nothing that special. They fit the game well and don't detract from it, but don't add much either. Now we're getting to the most important part when it comes to a show like Our Story So Far TV, and you'll be pleased to find that in the manual, there are story elements. Baron Aloha's Greed. The time? Far in the future. The place? Deep in space. The problem? Vanishing real estate. Viperous Baron Aloha has cooked up a diabolical scheme. He's stealing our planet piece by piece. The evil astrophysicist has excavated vast chunks of the Earth, enslaved the inhabitants, and shuttled the whole works off into space as his own galactic continents. Greedy Aloha has turned our serene world into Swiss cheese to make his own private resorts. Can anybody or anything stop him? Robert, the Super Depester. Yes, one brave robot can do the job. Robbit, the perfect pest eradicator, is specifically built to make bug juice out of Baron Aloha and his swarms of verminous helpers. Aloha has unplugged the jet pods that propel each world and stashed them somewhere in the realm. Only he knows where they are. If Robbit can recover the jet pods, he can reclaim the world. Jump and go! Robbit's got the attitude. Can you stand the altitude? The game has a brief cutscene intro, which sums up the story quite nicely.
Baron Aloha, a black shadow threatening the safety of peaceful worlds. An evil scientist who frightens children and is bent on slavery. A giant robot has seized a peaceful world and carried it off. Aloha's evil plan is to turn it into a huge private retreat for himself. Universal City Hall, here to help the people. Robbit can do the job. Let's go, Robbit! Jump and go! Jumping Flash!
You'll notice that the manual specifically says that this takes place far in the future, but that it is Earth that's under attack. But the intro cutscene simply calls it a peaceful world. There's not really any explanation to be found as to why you're playing as Rabot. I'm not even sure if you're piloting Rabot or if it's a sentient robot and you're playing as that character. Although I won't spoil the ending here, I will say that there really isn't much to spoil. Somehow, Jumping Flash still sucked me in. There certainly wasn't much in the way of story, but it was the kind of fun and unique mechanic that harkened back to when 3D games were new, and game developers were trying to figure out new things to see what worked. And to be honest, despite its simplicity, what Jumping Flash has to offer still works. It isn't that much of a challenge, although I did die a few times here and there, and it still had a certain charm in character and level designs. I also enjoyed hunting for a few items and quickly being able to progress to a new level. I never played Jumping Flash as a kid, and I'm glad the cover art was unique enough to pique my interest and get me to dive in. I'm just happy it turned out to be a fun game to jump in and play because there was barely a flash of our story so far. Hey everybody, thanks for watching episode number 102 of Our Story So Far TV. It's been a while, I've had some personal things going on. I think it's pretty clear that I'm probably going to slow this series down, maybe just do one episode a month for a while. No reason in particular to work myself to the bone, it's just as long as they're fun to make, I'll keep making them. That's the only reason I do this. Still, if you feel like encouraging me, leave a comment down below, give the video a like, or share it with a friend, that would really help. As always, if you want to talk to me directly, I'm on Twitter @NewAngel, that's Nuangel. Until next time, take care of yourself.